ראש השנה, second chapter, משנה ט'. משנתנו היא המשך המשנה הקודמת. This Mishnah, continuation of the previous Mishnah. About עדים, קידוש החודש, which witnesses you get. והיא באה לספר, it comes to teach us. כשנודע לרבן גמליאל, when רבן גמליאל, it was made known, כי רבי יהושע חברו, that רבי יהושע, his friend, חולק עליו, he says differently than him, בעניין העדים שאמרו ראינו בזמנו, ובליל עיבורו לא נראה. In other words, Rabbi Yehoshua says, if you didn't see it on the 31st and you did say it on the 30th, we don't take your testimony because you're lying. Don't come and tell me some stories. Everybody looked outside, everybody saw there's no moon on the 31st. You were witnessing on the 30th that you saw it. Come on. I don't believe you. So therefore he didn't receive the testimony, Rabbi Yehoshua. And Rabban Gamliel says, I receive it. I don't know what happened. If it was in the right shape, the fact that we didn't see it means nothing. ולא קיבל את קידוש החודש שלו. In other words, so according to Rabban Yehoshua, Yom Kippur is going to happen a day later than Rabban Gamliel, according to his calculation. That's the way he paskins. According to him, Yom Kippur is one more day. Because I don't receive his testimony. And Rabban Gamliel says, I do receive his testimony. He says, you can't receive his testimony. He's lying. For sure. If nobody saw it on the 31st, you cannot have... He is impossible that he saw it on the 30th. אלא קבע לעצמו ראש חודש ביום ה-31. So, Rabbi Yehoshua established that Rosh Chodesh is going to be on the 31st. Now, not necessarily he has to go against Rabban Gamliel. He can fast 2 days. For example, I believe I'm going to, you said 30, I'm going to fast also on the 31st. I'm going to keep Yom Kippur 2 days. I'm not hurting you. Nothing wrong with this so far, right? Rabban Gamliel hadavar, but Rabban Gamliel didn't like it. He says, no, there's no such things. If I said it was in the 30th, it was in the 30th. Shema ze yavo lidei pirud ba'am. You know what's going to happen now? Some people are going to start celebrating the Yom Kippur on the 30th. Some people are going to start celebrating Yom Kippur on the 31st. This is going to make a split in the nation. We're going to have, that's it. It's going to be a disaster. Veshalach Rabbi Yehoshua. So Rabban Gamliel sent a messenger to Rabbi Yehoshua, שגוזר עליו לקבל מרותו של נשיא בית דין. He says, you have to admit that I'm the boss over here. Otherwise, we're not going to go. It's not going to go well. That's it. So that's it. Shalach lo Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel sent to him. To whom? To Rabbi Yehoshua. Gezorani alecha. I am going to make a decree on you. This is your decree. שתבוא אצלי במקלך ובמעותיך ביום הכיפורים שחל להיות בחשבונך. I want you to come to me on when you say it's Yom Kippur, which means the day after, I want you to come over to me with your stick and with your money. In other words, I want you to make a statement because that it's not Yom Kippur. Not just say, okay, I believe you, whatever. No. I want you to make a statement that everybody will see that this is not Yom Kippur. Interestingly enough, before in the previous Mishnah, you remember, there were two guys who were going against Rabban Gamliel. It was Rabbi Yehoshua and Rabbi Dosa ben Arkines. Okay. Both of them went against Rabban Gamliel. But he didn't make the decree against Rabbi Dosa ben Arkines. He didn't say, you come over to me. He only, according to Rabbi Yehoshua, he said. So the question... No, Rabbi Dosa also was against him. So the question, why only Rabbi Yehoshua and not Rabbi Dosa? Okay.
He was bigger than him?
Oh, you're going to see. בעל תפארת ישראל כותב, the בעל תפארת ישראל writes, שגזר על רבי יהושע, that he made a decree on Rabbi Yehoshua, ולא גזר על רבי דוסה ben Arkines. And he didn't make the same decree on Rabbi Dosa ben Arkines that also went against him. Why? משום שרבי יהושע היה אף בית דין. It wasn't just Rabbi Yehoshua. Rabbi Yehoshua was like, there's a Nasi Beit Din and there's an Av Beit Din. So think about it like this. If the guy is a mayor and he does something, I don't care. But if the state Supreme Court says something, it has a bite. That's it. He says, you know what? I'm not going to go with federal law today. I'm going to go with what? With state law. It has a bite. If a mayor says do something, okay, a mayor says do something. It doesn't have a state law. Okay. So Rabbi Yoshua,
state and federal.
So there's a strength to it. It's not just a regular guy, a regular teacher who says something. This is something else. It is he had, let's say, samchut on Am. He had authority over the nation. So this is a problematic now. The other guy is just a teacher. It's not going to be a problem. וחשש רבן גמליאל שמא יגררו אחריו. It says he has the power to grab people after him. State has power.
Yeah. He's right, not him.
Not only he's right, they can say he's right also on Rabbi Dosa, but Rabbi Dosa doesn't have power. Right. This guy has power. Or another, this is one reason. So that's the first reason. The second reason is what you say. Yeah, this is the second reason. Or, משום שרבי דוסה זקן מופלג היה, ולא רצה להטריחו. He says Rabbi Dosa is an old guy, I don't want to bother him, people are not going to go after him anyway, it's okay, one of those things. Or, משום שרבי דוסה קיבל דינו של רבן גמליאל. Or some say, in the end Rabbi Dosa accepted him. Yeah, so all three reasons, whichever one you want to take. So, Rabbi Yoshua, now you have to understand what's going on. Rabbi Yoshua, think about himself. So that's the law. By the way, Rabbi Yoshua was known to be smarter than Rabban Gamliel. Yeah, Rabbi Yoshua. Yeah, I don't remember, but it's one of the Rabbi Yoshua. But he was known to be stronger than Rabban Gamliel in thinking. So over here, Rabbi Yoshua says, I know what the halacha is. That the fact that Rabban Gamliel says something, he can say whatever he wants. He doesn't understand it. So I'm not going to go against him. I'm going to keep Yom Kippur when he says. But I can keep Yom Kippur when I say also. I'm not hurting anybody. Over here now, Rabban Gamliel is telling him, no, you can't keep Yom Kippur at all when you say. In other words, so he says, according to halacha, he's not invalid. According to Jewish law, he's even allowed to teach his opinion, Rabbi Dosa. Not allowed to. He has to teach his opinion. You should say, this is my opinion, this is the way I think. You should know the halacha is like Rabban Gamliel. Yeah? So he says, in other words, you're taking away everything from me. That's what Rabbi Yoshua. So he was upset. Rabbi Yoshua he was distraught. He says, I'll keep your thing. I want to fast. I'm allowed to fast the next day. What do you want from me? I'm allowed not to carry the next day. Yeah, it's a regular day. I don't want to carry. What do you want from me? Right? So he's distraught. Halach u'metza'o Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva went to visit him, to talk to him. Look, it was a danger. We're going to have a split in the Jewish nation right now. You're going to continue your way, we're in disaster. At Rabbi Yoshua. So Rabbi Akiva went to visit Rabbi Yoshua, meitzer, and he was in pain. שהוא מצטער על אותו גזרה שגזר עליו רבן גמליאל. It says, what does he want from me? I'm keeping his Yom Kippur, I'm doing everything, I just want to keep another Yom Kippur, whatever. Yeah, whatever it is. What does he want from my life? Leave me alone. Says, get me out. אמר לו רבי עקיבא לרבי יהושע. So Rabbi Akiva is coming and telling Rabbi Yoshua, יש לי ללמוד. It says, I'm going to teach you something. I've learned something. Rabbi Akiva tells him, להוכיח לך. In other words, I'm going to prove to you that Rabban Gamliel is correct. It says, what this is? שכל מה שעשה רבן גמליאל עשוי. It says, anything that Rabban Gamliel, when Rabban Gamliel called it kadosh, the day, he said, this day is holy, that's it, it's done. In other words, your opinion means nothing now. I'm going to prove it to you. That even if you're right, he's going to say, you know what, between me and you, it's like Rabbi Akiva comes to Rabban Yoshua and says, you're right. But it doesn't matter that you're right. Because once Rabban Gamliel said kadosh, you're wrong. So what do you mean? If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. What are you talking about? My halacha is like me. ואפילו טעה, even if Rabban Gamliel was mistaken, still it's Yom Kippur is the day before, not on your day. וקידש את החודש שלו בזבנות, דבר כמים. Even, I give it to you. You're right, he's wrong. But once Rabban Gamliel says kadosh, that's it, it's over. שנאמר, it says, how do I know this? He says, I know it from the verse. אלה מועדי השם מקראי קודש אשר תקראו אותם במועדם. It says, we say it every Kiddush. Yeah? These are the times of God that you should read them in their time. תלה כתוב את קביעת המועדים בקריאת בית דין. In other words, who this determines when the holiday is? The בית דין. בין בזמנם, בין שלא בזמנם. Whether they were correct, whether they were not correct. Even if they were not correct, they are determining the time. בין שכיוונו בית דין וקבעו את המועדים בזמנם, whether they wrote the right time, בין שטעו וקבעו אותם שלא בזמנם, whether they wrote it in the wrong time. אין לי במועדות אלא אלו. When it comes to holidays, this is what determines. When the Beis Din says kadosh, even if it wasn't kadosh, it becomes kadosh. Even if God, you're right, God wants it in your day. He doesn't want it in their day. But once they say it, even God says, okay, I'm going to go back that way. שקבעו בית דין על פי קידוש החודש. Yeah? So this is a great statement by Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva coming to him tell me, you know what, even if you're right, you're wrong. Pretty much. You got no choice, you have to come.
Makes sense, because
Yeah.
once it's kadosh,
Yeah.
kadosh.
And he didn't like, he was still troubled, even after Rabbi Akiva. So בא לו רבי יהושע אצל רבי דוסה בן ארקינס. Rabbi Yeshua came by Rabbi Dosa, the son of Arkinus. This is the other guy that was against Rabban Gamliel. Right? שחלק על רבן גמליאל ואמר, עדי שקר הם. They say, how can you take the testimony? They're liars, for sure they're liars. There's no way that it was seen the day before and it wasn't seen the day after. אמר לו רבי דוסה, so Rabbi Yoshua still comes to Rabbi Dosa and he says, I'm still upset. I'm still not going to come. Yeah? Why? Even after what Rabban Gamliel says. Yeah? So, he says, you're right. He says, Rabbi Yoshua says to Rabbi Akiva back, he hasn't answered back. You're right that once the Beis Din says Kadosh, this is Kadosh. But the Beis Din shouldn't say Kadosh.
Because I told him.
You shouldn't say Kadosh because you cannot take the testimony. The Beis Din is... But you shouldn't.
Okay. But
So next year, no, I'm not talking about this year. This year I'll accept it.
Oh.
Next year, be like me.
Oh.
He still says, so don't say Kadosh. What do you mean? If you say, I agree with you that if you say Kadosh, it's Kadosh. But I'm telling you, don't say Kadosh. Because if you have such witnesses, don't say Kadosh. They're not proper witnesses. You cannot do that. So he still doesn't like it. He says, maybe I'll agree after the fact. After the fact, I'll agree with you, Rabbi Akiva. But lechatchila, don't say Kadosh. Why are you saying Kadosh over here? So, Amar lo Rabbi Dosa le Rabbi Yoshua. So he comes to Rabbi Yoshua, comes to Rabbi Dosa, tells him this complaint. So Rabbi Dosa answers him now. He tells Rabbi Yoshua something. Im ba'im anu ladun achar beit dino shel Rabban Gamliel. It says, we're going to have a problem. Look, according to you, Rabban Gamliel has his opinion. You're not going to change his mind. You tried to. You had a debate. He stayed with his opinion. You have yours. Now if you're going to come and say, he's wrong, right? He's wrong. You're not going to accept his authority. You know what's going to happen? You can go back all times back on any Beis Din that you disagree on their authority and uproot them. Yeah, it says, according to your logic, look what's happening. You're going to go back on everything everybody else says until now.
Not accept it.
Yeah, in other words, שטעה בדינו פסק שלא כהלכה. Let's say I agree with you. He made a mistake. He did a paskan not according to halacha. צריכים אנו לדון אחר כל בית דין ובית דין שעמד מימות משה ועד עכשיו. According to you, now we have to go back and check every decision any Beis Din ever made and re-examine it. He says, you can't do that. כלומר, which means, כשם שאין אנו דנים אחר כל בית דין ובית דין שהיו בדורות הקודמים, just like we don't go back every generation and recheck their things, כך לא נוכל לדון גם אחר בית דינו של רבן גמליאל. It's the same thing over here. We can go against him. Says, we are right, he is wrong, but it has to stay this way. שנאמר, and it says, how do we know this? Because it says, Vaya'al Moshe ve'Aaron, it says in Moshe and Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, ve'shiv'im miziknei Israel, and 70 of the elders of the Jewish people. Ve'lama lo nitparshtu shmotam shel zkenim? Why he didn't say the names of the elders? Ela lelamed, to comes to teach you. Ba katuv lelamdenu, comes to teach you. Shekol shlosha ve'shlosha she'amdu beidin al Israel, that whenever you had a court in the Jewish system, any 3 guys were the court, hareyu kebeit dino shel Moshe. They have the same strength as Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's why he didn't name the 70 elders, because the people would think only these guys have the power. No, any elder in any generation, once they get in, that's it. כאותם הסגנים שלא נתפשו שמותם. Just like the elders that we didn't mention the names. ואם אמנם אין כל בית דין חשוב כמשה ואהרון, נדב ואביהו, and if you're not going to accept every beit din as important as Moshe and Aaron and Nadav and Avihu, אבל אפשר שחשובו כ70 הזקנים, but you're going to think that he's as important as 70 elders, בברייתא בגמרא מוספים, in the ברייתא they add even one more idea. ירובעל גדעון בדורו, in his generation, כמשה בדורו, is like Moshe in דורו. You cannot tell him, who are you? Comparing yourself to Moshe. I accept Moshe Rabbeinu, but I don't accept you. בדן, שמשון, בדורו, כאהרון בדורו. Dan in his generation is like Aaron in his generation. It says he has the same power. יפתח בדורו, כשמואל בדורו. יפתח in his generation, like Samuel in his generation. What does it come to teach you? ללמדך, to teach you, שאפילו קל שבקלים, that even a low status intellect judge, ונתמנה פרנס על הציבור, and it happened to be that he became a court, הרי הוא כאביר שבאבירים. You cannot say this guy is an idiot. I don't have to listen to him. No, you have to accept him as Moshe Rabbeinu. כיוון ששמע רבי יהושע, since Rabbi Yoshua heard שאף רבי דוסה מקבל דינו של רבן גמליאל, that Rabbi Dosa, you know what? He accepts it. You know, he accepts it. You're right that it's 100% he's wrong. But even Rabbi Dosa accepts him, even though if he's wrong. By the way, even here, Rabbi Dosa, it looks like from here, still agrees with Rabbi Yoshua, not with Rabban Gamliel. But he says, look.
I can nullify the bad deed.
That's right. Here, it happened to be Rabban Gamliel is the high court. We have to listen to him.
You go to court, I don't agree with him. These judges know. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
No, I don't agree.
Exactly.
מה זה?
נטל מקלו ומעותיו, he took his stick, he took his money, בידו, in his hand, והלך ליבנה אצל רבן גמליאל ביום שחל יום כיפור חשבונו. And he went to Yavne in Yom Kippur according to his calculation. כמו שגזר עליו רבן גמליאל, just like רבן גמליאל decreed upon him. עמד רבן גמליאל ונשקו על ראשו. רבן גמליאל stood up and he kissed him on his head. אמר לו רבן גמליאל לרבי יהושע, רבן גמליאל says to רבי יהושע, בוא בשלום, come in peace. רבי ותלמידי, my master and my student. Now, he wasn't his student. He was only his master. Yeah, Rabban Gamliel was the student of Rabbi Yoshua. So why does he say my master? Yeah, so why does he say my master and my student? Rabbi bechokma says you're my master because we both know that you're smarter than me. But v'talmidi and my student, where's the student part? Shekipalta devarai, that you did according to what I said and not according to your smartness. בברייתא בגמרא מובא, in the ברייתא it says, כיוון שראה אותו רבן גמליאל את רבי יהושע, since רבן גמליאל saw רבי יהושע, עמד מכיסאו ונשקו על ראשו, אמר לו, he stood from his seat, he kissed him on his hand, and he said to him, שלום עליך רבי ותלמידי, he says, peace upon you, my master, my student. רבי שלימדתני תורה ברבי, my master, because you, my teacher, ותלמידי, and my student, שאני גוזר עליך גזרה, that I decree upon you something, ואתה מקיימה כתלמיד, and you do it like a student, even though you know, I don't understand you, and I do it like a student, like a master tells the student, do something, the student doesn't understand, but he knows, the master knows better. אשרי הדור, Happy is the generation שהגדולים נשמעים לקטנים, that the smart ones, that the great ones are actually listening to the small ones. ומתוך קל הקטנים נושאים קל וחומר בעצמם, and this is how much more so now. The student now knows if the elders haven't to listen to me, how much more so do I have to listen to the elders. כך פייס רבן גמליאל את רבי יהושע. This is how there was, even though there was a bad atmosphere between them, still there were two sections, but this what calmed the whole situation down. שלא גזר עליו גזירתו, in other words, the only reason why he made a decree, אלא מתוך דאגה, because he was worried, שלא תעשה תורה כשתי תורות, that the Jewish nation are not going to split into two sections, ושלא יתפלג העם לכיתות כיתות, that the nation is not going to be separated into many splits.